The moment Zach Ryder cornered me, in that grimy alleyway behind Northwood Prep, the first comments appeared across my vision. I blinked, convinced. The stress of senior year had finally pushed me into a full-blown hallucination. The supporting character doesn't know it yet, but this yellow-haired punk is her long-lost older brother. The heroine manipulated him into becoming a delinquent. He'll later die trying to save her. It's because of today's incident that he gets a permanent record. Trying to protect the heroine. I stared at the punk, Zach, as I'd named him in my head, with his bleached-out hair and intimidating leather jacket. As he took a threatening step closer. "Hold up," I shouted, my voice surprisingly steady. "Don't start yet. Let me call my people." He snorted, a laugh rumbling in his chest. "Fine, call him." A few minutes later, Mom and Dad rode up to the alley entrance on our beat-up old Ford Ranger. The four of us stared at each other in a deeply awkward silence. Mom, a woman, whose resting face looked like she was about to demand to speak to the manager, was the first one out. She didn't hesitate. With a sound like a wet towel snapping, a solid stinging smack landed across Zach's face. "Zach Ryder," she bellowed, using his real name from the missing persons file, not the fake one he probably used. "You've got some damn nerve bullying your own flesh and blood." She grabbed a handful of his bleached hair. "Look at you. No self-respect. You look exactly like your deadbeat father did when he was young." Zach's head snapped sideways from the force of the blow. He instinctively raised a hand to strike back, but Mom had already twisted his collar, jerking him forward. She delivered a sharp, functional kick to his kneecap. Zach folded, landing right on his knees in front of Dad. Mom pulled his hair back, forcing him to look at my father. "This is the one, right? The one harassing our daughter." Dad, Mark Reese, a man whose primary mood was weary resignation, raised his fist. It froze midair. "Wait a minute. That face. That face what? Mark? This is your favorite son. The exact same idiot you were 20 years ago." Mom shoved Zach's head forward. "Look at the state of him, wearing his school uniform under all that leather. School's not even out yet, is it? It's all your fault, Mark. If you didn't have those weak criminal genes, our son wouldn't have turned out like this." Zach squirmed, trying to escape Mom's iron grip on his ear. "I'm not your son. Let go of me," he yelled, face burning red. "A guy's gotta have some dignity." Dad didn't hesitate. This time he backhanded Zach across the head. "You rotten little punk. Don't you talk to your mother that way." "OMG, what? What happened? I thought yellow hair was supposed to be a total badass. Up there, this looks like pure natural bloodline suppression." The heroine must be flipping out. She sent yellow hair to teach the side character a lesson. And now she's waiting in class for him to come back and report. This side character's mom is incredible. She took one look and recognized her son. If the side character hadn't messed with the elite prince, the heroine wouldn't have been this mad. But now yellow hair is going to be dragged to the police station. Isn't he? The comments finally pieced together a rough plot for me. The elite prince they were talking about had to be Elijah Pierce, my new desk partner. He was a moody loner, but smart. I had no idea what I'd done to mess with him. I just wanted to borrow his calculus notes. That was it. As for the heroine, I didn't know her name, but I figured she was some kind of tough girl delinquent. So she was the one who had groomed my brother into a punk. My eyes scanned the chaotic scene again. Zach was kneeling off to the side, sulking, his glare at me full of pure homicidal rage. He looked up at my parents, his voice defiant. "You've got the wrong guy. I'm not your son. My name is Tony Diaz," he insisted. "I grew up in foster care. I don't know either of you." Mom ignored him entirely. She elbowed Dad. Dad took a long drag from his cigarette and promptly smacked Zach again. "Still talking back to your mother. In this family, her word is gospel." Dad squinted. "And you say you're not Zach Ryder. Look at your face. You're the spitting image of me when I was young. And if you're not Zach, why are you shaking so damn much?" Zach looked like he was about to explode, but Mom's death glare shut him down instantly. He fell silent. Mom told me to get in the truck. They shoved a mortified Zach into the back seat, and we drove home. My parents had never hidden the fact that I had an older brother. Mom got pregnant with me soon after. My father started working extra shifts to support a larger family. My brother Zach was a sweet, self-reliant kid who walked home from school alone. That was the day the traffickers hit our town. He was gone. And for 18 years he was just a ghost in our house. I never thought we'd end up at the same high school. During the drive, Zach kept giving me dark, murderous side eyes. Every time he did, I just piped up, "Mom, he's glaring at me." Eventually his eyes were sore, and my throat was hoarse. As soon as we got home, Mom dragged Zach straight to his old room. She pulled out a stack of faded photographs, pointing to a picture of a 20-year-old dad. "I don't care what you believe, but I am your mother," she stated flatly. You look in the mirror, you look at this picture. Those two faces are the same. Even if you were reduced to ash, I'd know you instantly. She paused, the threat implicit. After dinner, you dye that hair back to normal. If you don't listen, I'm shaving that annoying yellow mess right off your head. Zach stared at the photo, completely speechless.
Wow.
The heroine's mom is relentless. Her hurricane personality completely blows away any chance of a sappy moment. The heroine is probably dying of worry. He's still at school and hasn't even eaten because she's so concerned about yellow hair. Under mom's creative coercion, which included a pair of buzzing electric clippers, Zach ultimately dyed his hair back to a dark brown. After lunch, mom drove both of us back to Northwood Prep. Zach was several years older than me, but because he bounced around in foster care and correctional facilities, he was repeating his senior year, just like me. The only difference was I was the undisputed valedictorian, and he was the undisputed bottom of the barrel student. Mom nearly fainted reading Zach's transcript. Ultimately, mom's word was final. Zach, my long-lost brother, became my new desk partner. Genevieve, you keep a close eye on your brother, mom ordered, her voice like grinding stone. If he even looks at another gang member, you call me immediately. I nodded eagerly. Before she left, mom gave Zach's ear another vicious twist. You study with your sister. If I hear one more word about you bullying her, I'll have your father break your legs. She straightened her jacket. I'm heading straight to the registrar's office right now to transfer your enrollment and finalize your custody.
She leaned in.
Zach Ryder, do you hear me? Zach was hunched over, thoroughly defeated, but he mumbled one final protest. We're at school. I'm a guy. I need some dignity. He looked up. Whether I'm your son or not, you could at least give me some respect in front of my peers. Mom didn't care about dignity. She rolled up her sleeve, revealing a solid corded forearm. I asked you a question. Do you hear me? Zach still hesitated. I immediately grabbed his arm. Bro, our mom's got a black belt in the freezer section at Costco selling fish for a decade. She's got the strength and the tools. I strongly suggest you listen. A look passed between us. A shared immediate understanding of mom's terrifying competence. Finally, Zach grumbled, sounding constipated. Fine.
Got it. Satisfied.
Mom finally left. But I should have known better. Zach stayed quiet for exactly 2 class periods. During the third, he went to the restroom and never came back. I sat in the classroom watching the comments dance in front of me. Yellow hair finally couldn't hold back. He went to find the heroine. The heroine will find out yellow hair failed the mission and will totally beat him up. Beat up.
No.
Yellow hair is the heroine's personal dog, a mere pawn. He'll get his redemption arc, but he has to make way for the main couple.
Doggone.
I shot up out of my seat. Anyone who dared to disrespect my brother was dead to me. The teacher looked startled. I quickly doubled over, feigning a terrible stomach cramp, and contorted my face into a mask of pain. I was granted an emergency pass. I sprinted toward the gym equipment room. I reached the room just as Zach knelt before the heroine, Riley Brooks. Riley looked furious. Her cheap hair dye in multiple mismatched colors, not unlike Zach's earlier look. Even through the window, I could hear her furious screech. You couldn't even handle a simple thing like that. And who told you to dye your hair back? Her voice cracked with genuine rage. Did you forget what you promised? You're mine, Zach. You do what I tell you. I just told you to deal with a little bookworm. How hard is that, Zach? The newly reformed son actually shuffled closer on his knees, lifting Riley's foot with embarrassing reverence and placing it squarely on his thigh. I couldn't watch the rest. I shut my eyes and ran straight for the administration office. OMG, yellow hair is finally smartening up. They've been through so much together. It's totally normal to develop feelings. But even if the side character and yellow hair got together, she wouldn't be happy. The side character has had a miserable life. She deserves the elite prince and a lifetime of money. What's the supporting character doing? I thought she'd run in and stop them. I didn't wait for the comments to finish. I burst through the door of Dean Walker's office, winded and breathless. Report, Dean. I need to report. There's public indecency and possible truancy in the equipment room. Dean Walker, who knew I was a straight-A student and therefore a reliable source, grabbed his notebook and marched out immediately. Dean Mendez, in charge of discipline, heard the word indecency and followed adolescent romance. Not on his watch. That meant someone hadn't been morally supervised enough. A few teachers who lived for drama also trailed behind us. Northwood Prep was a top-tier magnet school. Teen romance was strictly forbidden. I swear the heroine just kicked yellow hair to the ground. The way yellow hair looks at the heroine is totally inappropriate. Why is the side character bringing all the teachers? I thought she'd call her mom. Things are getting weird. I thought this was a high school redemption romance. Why is the cannon fodder side character messing up the script? I ignored the commentary and kicked open the equipment room door. Riley was sitting on my brother mid-punch, while he looked up at her with a sick, clearly enjoyable expression. The picture of a dedicated simp. What in God's name are you two doing in here? Dean Walker roared. Zach Ryder. Class 11. Riley Brooks. Class 15. This is utterly inappropriate. His face was purple. Get to the office now. Your students. What is this, dating? Getting romantic in a school facility? We're calling both your parents now. Dean Walker waved his hand and strode off. The crowd of teachers. Trailing him. Coach Daniel's pride of bewildered Zach and Riley apart. Zach spun around and saw me. Flicker of utter defeat. A sense of having been caught by his parole officer crossed his face. He marched up to me. You again. Riley, seeing me for the first time, rushed over. You must be the little wannabe who's trying to hook the elite prince. Right, she snarled.
Elijah Piercesmine.
This is your lucky day. But you better not be alone when you walk home from school. If I see you by yourself, I promise you, you'll regret it. I wasn't afraid of her. The three of us stood in a miserable row in the dean's office. Mom, Sharon Reese, having just completed the paperwork to formally claim Zach as her son, rushed into the school after the dean's call. She saw me first. Without asking any questions, she delivered a solid stinging smack across my cheek. How dare you get yourself into trouble? Zach beside me let out aloud. Before he could even fully laugh, Mom delivered the exact same stinging blow to his head. Riley, whose face was still a model mix of anger and entitlement, finally spoke up. She jutted her chin out, staring down my mother with pure aggression. Riley Brooks jutted her chin out, staring down my mother with a kind of reckless aggression only found in teenagers who had never been hit by a chancla or a frozen fish. Who do you think you are, old lady? Riley spat, crossing her arms. You can't just barge in here and slap people. My dad is on the school board. I'll have you sued for assault before you can even start your beat-up truck. The room went deadly silent. Even Dean Walker looked uncomfortable. The comments floating in the air turned a frantic shade of red. User 123. Oh no. She triggered the boss level. Simp Slayer. R.I.P. Heroine. It was nice knowing you. Plot_twist_king. Does she know who she's talking to? That woman dismantled a rotisserie chicken with her bare hands in the last chapter. Mom didn't yell. That was the scary part. She adjusted her purse, a heavy, leather weapon of mass destruction, and stepped into Riley's personal space. She loomed. It wasn't just height, it was an aura of absolute, crushing authority. Your father is on the school board? Mom asked, her voice dangerously calm. Good. That means he has a public phone number. She turned to Dean Walker. Get him on the phone.
Now.
Mrs. Reese, I don't think. I said. Mom turned her head slowly. Get him on the phone. Or I will go to the local news and tell them that Northwood Prep allows students to engage in lewd acts in the equipment room while the administration watches. Dean Walker dialed so fast his fingers blurred. While the phone rang, Mom turned back to Riley. And as for you, you think you're tough? You think manipulating a boy with abandonment issues makes you a queen? Mom laughed, a dry, terrifying sound. Little girl, I manage the Saturday morning rush at Costco. I deal with people who would eat you for breakfast because they didn't get their free sample. You are nothing. Riley faltered, her bravado cracking.
Zach.
Are you going to let her talk to me like that? Zach, who was currently rubbing his stinging cheek, looked between the love of his life and the woman who had birthed him. He opened his mouth. Shut up, Zach, Dad said from the doorway. He had just walked in, smelling of smoke and exhaustion. Your mother is working. Zach, shut up. When Riley's father arrived 20 minutes later, blustering and red-faced, prepared to defend his princess, he took one look at Sharon Reese and deflated. It turned out Mom had denied his return on a questionable flat-screen TV 3 years ago, and he still feared her. The result was swift. Zach was suspended for 3 days. Riley, due to her impeccable record being tarnished by Mom's relentless recitation of school bylaws regarding public decency, received a week of detention. As we walked out to the truck, the comments were confused. Romance Lover 99. Wait, the heroine usually gets away with everything. This plot is broken. Chaos_gremlin. I am living for the mom. Can we romance the mom? Admin. System error. Plot deviation detected. Recalculating. The next 3 days were a masterclass in behavioral modification. Mom's philosophy was simple. Idle hands do the devil's work, or in this case, the heroine's work. Therefore, Zach was not allowed to be idle. Genevieve. Mom barked the next morning. Put the books on the table. Zach, seat. Zach, now sporting hair that was an uneven, muddy brown, slumped into the kitchen chair. I don't need to study. I'm gonna be a musician. Riley says I have a soul for Smack. Mom hit the back of his head with a rolled-up grocery circular. Riley is not the admissions officer at community college. You are doing math. I sat across from him, opening my calculus textbook. It's barely algebra, Zach. Just solve for x. I don't care about x. Zach shouted, slamming his hand on the table. I care about her. She's probably crying right now because I'm not there to carry her bag. I watched the text float above his head. User 888, he's hopeless. The brain rot is too deep. Medic. We need an exorcism. If you solve these 10 problems, I said, improvising, I'll tell you what Riley posted on Instagram. Zach's head snapped up. She posted, 10 problems. Show your work. He grabbed the pencil like it was a dagger and furiously attacked the paper. It was pathetic, but it was progress. For 3 days, we existed in this strange limbo. I learned that my brother, despite his delinquent persona, was actually terrified of the dark and allergic to shellfish. Dad taught him how to fix the carburetor on the truck, mostly to keep him away from his phone. By Wednesday, the hallucinations, the comments started to shift. They weren't just observing anymore. They were getting invested in the Reese family drama. Fanfic writer. Okay, hear me out. The brother actually has good bone structure now that the yellow mop is gone. If he stops slouching, he's kinda cute. Team Genevieve, RMC is finally getting some peace. Look at her drinking tea, while her brother suffers through long division. But the peace couldn't last. The script demanded conflict. I returned to school on Thursday. Zach was still suspended for one more day, which meant I was alone. I walked into AP Calculus and slid into my seat next to Elijah Pierce. Elijah was the elite prince the comments obsessed over. Rich, genius, devastatingly handsome in a bored, sleepy way. Usually he ignored everyone. Today he turned his head and looked at me. Your brother, Elijah said. His voice was deep, smooth, and lacked any interest. I froze. What about him? He's the one who was on his knees in the gym. The one your mother corrected. I felt the heat rise in my cheeks.
Yeah.
That's Zach. Elijah stared at me for a long moment, his dark eyes unreadable. Then, the corner of his lip twitched. Your mother is terrifying, he said. I like her. Ship captain, the ship is sailing. He spoke to her. Romance_God, he likes the mom? Is this a complex? Whatever, I'll take it. She's effective, I managed to say. I have the notes you wanted, Elijah said, sliding a sleek, leather-bound notebook across the desk. And I added some corrections to the teacher's proofs. He made a mistake on the third theorem. I took the notebook. Thanks. Why are you helping me? Elijah rested his chin on his hand, looking out the window. Because you're the only person in this school who looks like they're trying to survive a horror movie rather than star in a soap opera. It's refreshing. I blinked. He saw it too? Not the comments, obviously, but the absurdity of it all. Just warn your brother, Elijah added quietly, not looking at me. Riley Brooks isn't just a high school bully. She's embarrassed. And people like her don't handle embarrassment well. She's planning something. Elijah was right. When Zach returned to school on Friday, the atmosphere was heavy. He walked beside me, his backpack hitched high on both shoulders, mom's orders, looking miserable. Riley was waiting by the lockers. She didn't scream this time. She didn't attack. She was crying. It was a masterclass performance. Giant, crocodile tears rolled down her cheeks. She looked fragile. Zach, she whispered, her voice trembling. The comments exploded. Drama queen, here it comes. The guilt trip. Simp_alert. Don't do it, Zach.
Hold the line.
Zach froze. His mom instilled discipline ward with his heroin-programmed brain. Riley, he croaked. I'm so sorry, she sobbed, stepping closer. I was just so stressed.
My dad, he's so mean to me.
And when your mom yelled at me, I just felt so alone. You're the only one who understands me, Zach. You're the only one who protects me. She reached out and touched his hand. Zach melted. His posture slumped. The defiant gleam in his eye returned. He looked at me, then at her. I've got you, Riles, he whispered. Always. I groaned audibly. Zach, she is literally playing you. Look at her eyes. She's checking her reflection in the locker. Shut up, Genevieve. Zach snapped, pulling his hand away from me. You don't know her heart. Riley smirked at me over Zach's shoulder. It was a cold, reptilian smile. Meet me tonight? Riley whispered to him. At the old rail yard? Midnight? I need you to do something for me. Something dangerous. I can't trust anyone else. I'll be there, Zach promised. The second we got home, I didn't hesitate.
Mom.
Zach joined a gang again. I shouted at the moment the front door opened. Zach tackled me, trying to cover my mouth, but it was too late. Sharon Reese emerged from the kitchen, holding a spatula like a scepter. He what? I didn't join a gang, Zach yelled, pinning me to the carpet. I'm just going to meet Riley.
She needs me.
Mom grabbed Zach by the back of his collar and hauled him off me. She dropped him onto the sofa.
Talk, she ordered.
Zach, foolishly, decided to be honest. She needs me at the rail yard at midnight. It's important. She's in trouble. The rail yard, Dad said, wandering in from the garage. Isn't that where the meth heads hang out? It's where the heart is, Dad. Zach screamed, fully relapsing into his tragic hero persona. I have to go. If I don't go, who will save her? Mom looked at Dad. Dad looked at Mom. They communicated in that silent, telepathic way married couples do.
Fine, Mom said.
Zach blinked.
Fine?
I can go. Mom corrected, unbuttoning her work blouse to reveal a world's best mom t-shirt underneath. Are going.
What?
Zach and I said in unison. If this girl is in trouble, Mom said, her eyes gleaming with a terrifying light, then she needs responsible adults. We're going to the rail yard. Mark, get the tire iron. Genevieve, get your first aid kit. Zach, get in the truck. Mom, you can't. Zach was horrified. It's not cool. You'll ruin my street cred. Your street cred is -5, Mom replied. Move. Comedy gold. The whole family is going to the gang fight. I cannot breathe. Plot under twist. This is it. This is the peak of fiction. The old rail yard was a desolate place filled with rusted shipping containers and graffiti. It was the perfect setting for a dramatic teenage tragedy. Riley was there, waiting under a flickering halogen light. But she wasn't alone. She was surrounded by 5 guys in leather jackets holding baseball bats. They looked like extras from a bad 80s movie. He's coming, Riley said, checking her phone. And when he gets here, break his legs. Just enough so he can't leave me again. I want him dependent. Evil villain, wow. She went full psycho. The sound of an engine cut through the silence. But it wasn't the roar of a motorcycle. It was the wheezing, rattling cough of a 1998 Ford Ranger. The truck rolled into the light. The brakes squealed agonizingly loud. Riley stared. The thugs stared. The doors opened. First, Dad stepped out. He lit a cigarette, the flare of the lighter illuminating his tired, unshaven face. He looked at the thugs, then at his watch. Make it quick. I have a shift at 6 a.m. Then, Mom stepped out. She was wearing her comfortable sneakers. She cracked her knuckles. Finally, Zach crawled out of the back seat, hiding his face in his hands. I followed, holding my phone up to record because Elijah had texted me. Video, or it didn't happen. What is this? Riley shrieked. Zach, you brought your parents. I didn't have a choice. Zach wailed. Who are these clowns? The lead thug asked, stepping forward and tapping his bat in his palm. Go home, Grandma. This doesn't concern you. Mom smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Grandma, she repeated softly. Combat log. Thug A has initiated death wish. Mom moved. It was a blur. She didn't use karate. She used pure, unadulterated mom strength. She caught the bat mid-swing, yanked the thug forward, and hip-checked him into a pile of scrap metal. Mark, she yelled. Left flank. Dad sighed, dropped his cigarette, and stepped on it. As the second thug rushed him, Dad simply stepped aside and tripped him, then sat on him. Stay down, kid. You don't have health insurance. Riley screamed. Get them. Get them all. The remaining 3 thugs looked at the carnage. Then they looked at Zach. Your mom is crazy, man, one yelled, dropping his bat. I'm not fighting a Costco manager. Do you know how strong their grip is? They ran. Riley was left standing alone, trembling. Mom walked up to her, dusting off her hands. She didn't hit Riley. She didn't need to. Riley Brooks, Mom said. I'm calling your parents again. And, this time, I'm calling the police. Conspiracy to commit assault? Solicitation of minors? Mom sked. That's a permanent record, honey. Riley looked at Zach. Zach, help me. Attack her. Zach looked at the girl he had worshipped. He looked at her snarling face, her selfishness, the way she had set him up to be beaten just to keep him under her thumb. Then he looked at Dad, who was currently giving the pinned thug a lecture on the importance of trade school. He looked at Mom, who had fought for him. The simp, coating in the air above his head shattered, like glass. System. Character arc complete. Zach has evolved into Tony/Zach. No, Zach said. His voice was steady. I'm done, Riley. You're kind of a loser. The silence that followed was heavier than the beatdown. A loser? Riley gasped. Yeah, Zach shrugged. My mom is way tougher than you, and she makes better sandwiches. Riley was expelled. It turns out, when the police find a group of teenagers with weapons and a video recording, courtesy of me, of the ringleader ordering an assault, the "my dad is on the school board" card doesn't work as well. Zach didn't become the valedictorian. He was still kind of an idiot, but he was our idiot. He joined the auto shop club, discovered he had a knack for fixing engines, and started dating a girl from the culinary track who actually liked him, not his utility. As for me, I was sitting in the library a month later. The comments had mostly faded, popping up only occasionally, like faint background noise. "Reese," a voice said. I looked up. Elijah Pierce stood there. He wasn't looking out the window this time. He was looking at me. "I saw the video," he said. "Your dad's trip and sit technique is flawless." I smiled. "It's a family secret." "I was thinking," Elijah said, scratching the back of his neck, looking slightly less elite and slightly more human. "My parents are terrifying too. In a different way. Corporate sharks." "Okay. I was wondering if you wanted to compare notes. Over coffee. Or dinner." The air shimmered one last time. Romance_God. Finally. The slow burn pays off. User 123. Best.
Story.
Ever. System. Happy ending achievement unlocked. I closed my calculus book. "I'd love to," I said. And for the first time in a year, I didn't care what the comment said. I just grabbed my bag, texted mom that I'd be late, and walked out of the library with the elite prints, ready to write my own script.